Hi everyone, welcome to our YouTube channel, Atheists and Skeptical Society of Kenya. So today we are dealing with whether atheists are happy or unhappy. And we are also going to compare with the other world view, with the religious people who are more happier, or are they the same, or one group is happier than atheists, or atheists is happier than religious people. So I want us to start with the definition of happiness. What is happiness? Let's hear from the member the definition of happiness. That is what we are going to start with before we continue, because we cannot be able to analyze who is happier than the other if we don't know what is the real meaning of the happiness. You can raise your hand. Okay, we can start from Murioki, with Murioki.
Thanks, Dano. For me, happiness is when you feel good. Anything that makes you feel good is happiness. That's my opinion. When you're feeling good.
Is happiness temporary or permanent according to you?
Temporary, very temporary, very temporary.
Do you think satisfaction is also part of happiness? Satisfaction. Satisfaction,
no,
yeah.
No, I don't think
okay.
so. No, that's different.
Okay, fine. Let's hear from another person. Yeah, Soita.
Okay, it's so blurred. Let me first clean it as I continue speaking. Okay, as usual, I like to confer with the dictionary before saying anything, because you're not supposed to define things based on what you think. You're supposed to go with the standard definition. So Morioki might think that happiness does not involve satisfaction, but that is not the standard. Yeah, that's just his thought. So we need to consult the dictionary and see what they're saying. So there are two definitions I found. One is that happiness
and I think you are, I don't know whether you are in a low mood because your voice is low.
Oh, no, it is because I have not connected my what's it called? Earphones. I have not connected my earphones. Oh, and then you see my phone tends to hang after I do anything different. Okay. Test 2. Is that any better? Is my audio
very
better?
clear. Yeah, clear.
Great. Great, fantastic. So the first definition I wrote down is that happiness is a state of well-being and contentment. Okay? A state of well-being and contentment. It's so being content with your life, okay? That is important, being content, and having a sense of well-being. That's one definition. A second one is a life of well-being or flourishing. A life of well-being or flourishing. That is happiness. So again, well-being has been mentioned again, and in the first definition there was contentment or satisfaction. In both those definitions, I don't see any temporary nature, and it isn't a feeling per se. Contrary to popular opinion, I feel happy, I feel that's a colloquial understanding. But if you look at the dictionary definition, it is a state of well-being and contentment. Then there are three things a happiness expert, I forgot to write down his name, but he specializes in understanding happiness. He gave three qualities essential to being happy. The first one is satisfaction with your life. When you look at your life, the way you've lived it, are you satisfied with it? Are you satisfied with your financial position, with your relational position, with your social position in life? That will constitute being satisfied or being content, that feeling of contentment. And then secondly, he mentioned enjoyment. Do you enjoy your life or are you miserable? Do you feel like you can't stand the way life is? That is the opposite of happiness. But when you enjoy your life, that is that is an essential quality of happiness. And the third thing he added was purpose. Having a sense of purpose in life tends to increase your chances of happiness. So according to me, it is not a feeling. It is not a temporary thing. It is an assessment of the contentment or the satisfaction or contentment you have regarding your life and the state of well-being. Are you healthy financially, socially, career-wise? Are you doing well in those areas? If you are, then chances are you're happy. Yeah, let me leave it there. Thank you.
Okay, before that, do you think happiness can be a temporary apart from being permanent? Or how can you define them? Because sometimes you can say, today I'm happy. Maybe yesterday I was very sad. How can you say about?
Yes, I do think there are moments when one can use happiness in a temporary context. Yeah, I'm happy today because I won 1 million shillings, or I'm happy today after meeting a long lost friend, or I'm not happy today because someone stole my property. Yeah. So yes, there are times when it is used in a sentence, it can be temporary. However, when we are looking at the quality of happiness of when we are considering it as a characteristic to be measured empirically, then it has to have a long-term connotation. When we're looking at it in terms of your life, yeah, how happy are you in your life? But there are times when we can also use it in that context. So yes, and no. Thank you.
Okay, do you have another person to add on that or to give us a different perspective, opinion? Okay, Eston?
Okay, so the question was a definition of happiness. For me, the way I know
It's about,
happiness is yes.
okay, yeah, we are still in definition of happiness before we
Okay.
come to the factors that affect happiness.
Okay, for what I know about happiness, it's something that gives something that happens to you or happens that gives people a feeling of joy or making someone self-fulfilled in a certain way. Yeah, that's
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
That is, yeah. According to you, do you think it can also be temporary, or how do you evaluate the happiness in
Yeah,
somebody's
of
life?
course. Happiness can be temporary. It can be temporary and it can also be permanent. So it is not one of the two. It can be some things that can give you joy in for a certain period of time, and others can give you joy for a long time. So it can be temporary and it can be permanent. And I don't know if I should give this example because I don't believe in marriage, but those who believe in marriage, this is just an example. I don't mean that marriage is the only thing that brings happiness. A lot of things, but let me just use marriage for example. Maybe someone has someone has been wanting to get married for a long time, and because being married maybe makes them happy and self fulfilled. Some can be temporary because maybe you get into marriage, you are happy, you are in marriage and happy, but then your partner decides to misbehave, or maybe you don't think it doesn't turn out as you are expecting. No, that's happiness was temporary, but maybe you can get the right partner and someone who just makes you brings you happiness every single day. Or okay, you when you are in marriage, maybe you just say you think or maybe say you are seeing yourself lucky that you got married to this person. That can be happiness that is very long. It is not temporary. That's just an example, but there are others. So it can be temporary and it can also be long. It is not in between.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that is good. And also in marriage, it can be frustrating because sometimes you may feel it is a mixed reaction. Sometimes you are happy, sometimes you are sad, you are not happy when you are having with you, when you are how you are relating with your partner. Yeah. So it's a mixed reaction. So maybe you evaluate, you do average to see whether is that the marriage give you happiness in average or sadness. So do we have another person to add on that, to add something, or we move on to the factors affecting happiness? Okay, we can move to the second point. What are the factors that affect happiness? What are the factors that affect happiness? But before that, I will just give what I think about the definition of happiness. It is similar to what Soita have said. It's a psychological well-being which encompasses elements like self-acceptance. Happiness is caused by a combination of biological, psychological, and the social factors. So happiness can be caused by biological, psychological, and the social factors. Although, as we move on, we will concentrate with the social factors alone to see how atheists and religions are being affected by the social factors. So let's hear from Eston. Is your hand up? Okay, happiness is an emotion state characteristic by feeling of joy, satisfaction, and the overall well-being, just the way Dorocas have said. So now we are going to deal with the factors that are affecting happiness. And the way I have seen is are categorized into three. There is biological factors, psychological factors, and the social factors. So, but I want the member to give the examples of the factors that are affecting happiness. Okay, Murioki.
Thanks, Tano. For me, I'll say maybe like an example. When I go for a hangout, these hangouts we have, that day is different from other days because I'm with fellow atheists. So maybe that day I can say I'm happy. But now, after that, that's social now. It will just that one hangout. I'll be with you guys. And then after that, again, back to the usual. Yeah, thanks.
Okay, what I can understand you, Murioki, is one of the factors that contribute to happiness is socializing together or having the group that have the same opinion as yours, having fun together with the people of the similar opinion or similar view. Okay, thank you. Yeah, I think that affects everybody. Let's hear from Dorcas.
Okay. I think there are several things that affect your happiness. The first one is economic status. I think our president, or we don't call him president, we call him the chair of our society, one Maurice Washira, kept reiterating this point when we had a discussion about what was it? Is life hard or easy? So according to him, life is hard, and it is predominantly because people don't have money. Yeah. And in fact, he whittled down the conversation to just that. We were trying to give other points that can make life hard or easy, but he just kept going back to the either presence or absence of money. So even today, when we were sharing the flyer, I saw that he put an emoji of a dog smiling and then another mask on of it frowning. And then he said, no, atheists are not happy. But the point I'm making there is money. If you don't have enough money, I'm not saying that you need to look for money relentlessly and to amass as much money as possible, because now that can also be a source of unhappiness. That relentless pursuit of wealth, it can be a source of discontentment. So what I mean is you having enough to cater for your basic needs. When you're unsure about how you're going to pay your rent, you can't be happy. You're worried that the landlord will slap a padlock on your door and not allow you to get in. That would definitely be a source of unhappiness. So you need it. Or if you're a father and you need to take your kids to school, but you can't. They've been sent home because of school fees arrears. You can't be happy. You need to have enough money to pay for that basic need, or if you fall sick and you cannot afford healthcare, your illness is something that is treatable. It's treatable, and you are able to you're able to get a solution from the modern healthcare system. But because you don't have money, you don't, then that would be an issue. So economic status matters. You cannot go yapping and say, religion or this thing can make you happy, can be the solution to happiness, when that person is wallowing in poverty. Yeah, you have to have at least enough to meet your basic needs. So that is one component, one factor. Another one is your personality. There are people who are just inclined to be unhappy. They are melancholics. Yeah. Then there are others who are very happy-go-lucky individuals. They tend to have a joyous mood. Yeah, by and large, just their personality. Yeah, there are others who are grumpy through and through. So I think one's personality also comes into the picture, and it also impacts how you interpret life events. You might find that maybe something happens that is traumatic in your life, but depending on your personality, you could either sink or swim based on that experience. So yeah, personality is another one. Additionally, life events. Yeah, there could be certain life events that might occur which hamper your happiness, like or which promote happiness. So for instance, if you got abused as a child, that can leave a scar within you, which might alter your state of happiness. Or maybe you might be living in a war zone where you watch your parents dying right in front of your eyes, and you're left all alone. You become a refugee, and then you even have to leave your ancestral home. You have to go to a refugee camp. That can definitely hinder your happiness. So life events is another one. I will add two more. I think your social support is crucial in determining your sense of happiness. We are social creatures. Although this one, maybe we can have a debate about it. If I may ask you guys, what about people who are introverted and maybe even misanthropic? A misanthrope is somebody who hates other humans. They prefer to be by themselves. They hate the company of others. Yeah, they think just humans suck. So if somebody is like that, yeah, they find joy in being alone. So would such a person need social support? Would they need community? If they are introverted and prefer to be by themselves, if someone is very introverted, do they really need social support? So that's a question I am sending your way. But according to a study that was done on thousands of individuals from 1930, they found that the common denominator among people who were happy was that they had good relationships, they had social support. Last thing I'm going to add is a sense of purpose. A sense of purpose, I think it is it's crucial for a human being to have something greater than themselves, something that brings meaning to their lives. That will definitely add to happiness. So please answer my question on the effect of social support or community on very introverted people. Is this need to have a social community universal for all human beings? Or are there some people who just don't need community? They would thrive by themselves. Thank you.
Yeah, but I want you to emphasize on the sense of belonging or sense of purpose and the meaning, feeling that your life has value and direction, and that you are contributing to something larger than yourself. So, for example, do everybody have that sense of purpose and the meaning in life for you to be happy?
Stano, is that question directed to
I'm
me or
asking,
you?
yeah, I think it's directed to you because you have mentioned about the sense of purpose and the meaning feeling. Does that affect everybody? Because I think sometime you may not need those things. You may not have any purpose or any hope of tomorrow and be happy.
No, I think it is indispensable. I think if your life is meaningless, if you have no reason to get up in the morning, you cannot be happy. Those things are mutually exclusive. You have to have both. You have to have a sense of purpose for you to be happy. That's why the nihilists, it's written nihilists, that philosophy which says that life has no meaning. Those nihilists tend to be the most miserable people you will ever meet. We have them in our group and they are miserable and they like to spread their misery. They're not happy. They're not. When something it doesn't make sense, if you say that life has no meaning, then why are you doing that life? For me, once I realize that something is meaningless, if an activity is meaningless, the first thing I do is to stop doing it. Because what's the point? It has no point in doing it. So you stop. Yeah. I think nihilists are miserable. They're not happy. It's very difficult to find a happy nihilist, someone who believes that there's no meaning. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, fine. Well answered. Let's hear from Murioki.
Thanks, Tano. Maybe just to revert to Dawkins, I think for me, where I say life has no meaning, because we don't know about tomorrow. Yeah, you keep living it, but you can plan for tomorrow, then you die before you wake up. You see, that's what I said. Life is meaningless because I think a month ago, a family of 6 people they went for a funeral, then they're in one car, then the car crashed and they all died. Now, such things make me say life is meaningless because you don't know what will happen tomorrow. You don't know. And also, these are a thing of an introvert. I think, in my opinion, an introvert has a problem somewhere because human beings they're not leopards. You know, like leopards or cats, they like being alone. But human beings are social. So somebody who's introverted, I believe, has a problem somewhere. Thanks.
Okay, fine. Although there is something that I can have a different opinion with you. So let's hear from Eston.
Okay. The first question was the factors that affect happiness, or what was the first question?
Yeah, the factors. What are the factors that affect happiness?
So the ones that I can think of is number one, satisfaction. If you are the rate at which you are satisfied, because you can something can happen to someone, or someone can have something and he's very, very happy and is satisfied with that thing, and someone else can have the same thing but is not satisfied. So and satisfaction is a factor. If you are never satisfied, you can never find happiness. If you are never satisfied, you can never find happiness. You need to at a point be satisfied with some I'm not saying that you just be satisfied with anything, but you should have a level of if I reach this level, I'll be satisfied. But now if you say but that you never be satisfied, I think you never be happy if you are never satisfied. I know that this motivational speakers, they use this. I don't know. I don't know what do they, which quote do they use, but if you interpret those quotes so that they give people, it means it in one way or another, or in one way or another, makes people tells people not to be satisfied. But I think if you are never satisfied, happiness, you can never find true happiness. And also the personality of someone. Things like Clinton was here, but I don't know why he has left. I wanted to use him as an example, but he has left. But let me use it anyway. People like Clinton, alcohol, his personality, alcohol brings him happiness. Taking alcohol, but for Muriuki, no. Muriuki, alcohol, he even drinking alcohol, the thought of even drinking alcohol disgusts him. So also your personality, there are things that bring happiness to me that will not bring happiness to you. There are things that bring happiness to you that will not bring happiness to me. So your personality also is a factor in happiness. And then this question that Dorcas has asked about introverts. I mean, I don't think they need help. They need was it counseling that you said, or something like that?
No,
I
El
don't think
Maestro,
they
I did
need,
not say
because
counseling. El Maestro, I
Yes.
said community or social support.
Community. I don't think they need a social support or community. Because that's their personality. They you know, when you grow up, you start having your own preferences. Everyone you start building a personality with your own preferences. There are people who are very social. There are people who are social and not social in one or another, and there are others who are totally not social, and they are satisfied with being with the way they are. So for me, I think if you're an introvert and you are happy that way, I don't think they need the social or community support. If they're happy that way. Yeah, that's what I wanted to say for now.
Okay, but I have a question for you about the satisfaction. Can you force yourself to be satisfied? Or how can we be satisfied about something?
Forcing yourself to be satisfied, I don't. Forcing yourself, I don't think it is about forcing yourself, but just accepting that accepting that this is what will make me satisfied. It's not about forcing yourself, it's just accepting.
Okay, yeah, that is good, because sometimes it's hard to be content, so you just let it go if you cannot be able to reach your goal. So, and that is, I can term it as satisfaction when you have not yet reached your goal or what you would like to be. Let's hear from another person. I can see there is also a positive emotion. This involves experience feeling like joy, excitement, gratitude, love, and contentment. So these are the aspects of the happiness. Number one is positive emotion. Number two is life satisfaction that all of you have been talking about. The third one is sense of purpose and the meaning, feeling of the life. Then the other one is psychological well-being. So there was a question about, does the wealth affect happiness? But according to what I have heard from many of you, is that wealth does not affect happiness. What affects happiness is about how satisfied you are, because you can be billionaire, and if you are not satisfied, you will not be happy. And you can be a poor person, and you are satisfied, so you become happier than the rich person. So now, I want us to concentrate with the social factors. How does the social factors affect happiness on people? And we are going to start with the positive effect. Then after that, we will go to negative effect. So how do social factors like community affect your happiness or affect person happiness? Both the negative and the positive. So we can start with the positive, then we go to the negative. How do society affect our happiness? Okay, Morioki, go on.
Yeah, thanks, Tanu. Yeah, in fact, when I remember when I was in church and the youth group, it was always nice being with them. You know, every Sunday you go, you find a group of people. It's very powerful. So, like I said, I think anybody introverted is missing something, because now a community, we had issues, of course. Even here we have issues. That thing of community is very important. So that is a determining factor in somebody's well-being. Always, we need community always. No matter who you are, we need community. Thanks. Tanu.
Let's hear from Bir.
Okay, so I think a person's level of happiness it's correlated with their expectations, and the expectations are shaped by the community in which they abide. So, for instance, if your peers wanaishi kwa maybe one bedroom and they have like wanaishi kwa apartments, nice apartments, and they have cars na vitu kama hizo, it will not be as fulfilled with your life as you would be when you are surrounded by people who are around your level. And I think that's why most semi-capitalist societies zenye ziko na high income um, inaitwaje, disparity, in that most the rich people go far away kama na kuna big gap between the rich people and the poor people. They are likely to be, I think they are sadder. I think I've not checked, but I think they will report lower levels of happiness compared to watu wenye wako na lower income but wako na less income inequality. So I think that's how the society affects someone's level of happiness, in that if the people that are around, kwa mfano kama if you are sema 30 and all your peers are already married, then utafeel kama there's something that's lacking in you and it will be difficult for you to be happy. But if all the people that are around you for the same level, it will be easier for you to be satisfied and fulfilled with your life. Yeah, I'm done.
Stano, are you there, Mr. Moderator? Okay, me, I'll just go ahead because I think I was the next one in the
Go on,
queue.
go on. Go
Okay.
on.
Okay, great. So I have so many comments to make, including rebutting the rebuttal that Morioki made, some of the comments that Stano gave. So let me try and skim through them. I'll start with Morioki, who rebutted my idea when I said that it is not possible to be happy and lack meaning. The two often go to hand in hand. And Morioki was saying that life has no meaning. Life has no meaning because there was a time he saw a certain group of people and then they got involved in an accident and they died. That you can't predict tomorrow. So by that regard, life has no meaning. No, Morioki, that does not follow. That's a non sequitur argument. It's a bad argument. Just because you don't know what will happen tomorrow, that does not negate the idea of meaning. What is meaning? Meaning is the significance or value of something. It could be an activity that you engage in, for example, football. Yeah, playing football has meaning to the participants, or going to work has meaning for the participants. It could be an activity that you're examining and asking yourself, does that activity have meaning? Does it have value? In other words, does it have significance? Or you could look at life in general. Does life have value or significance? I will not say yes or no to that question. Does life have significance or meaning? Because it depends. There are some people whose life does not have value or significance. You live in the streets, you are homeless, you don't have children, you don't have family members or anybody who will miss you when you are gone. You're not working, so you're not contributing to the economy. You are not impacting in our society in any way. You're not innovating. You're not doing anything of value for society. And no one will miss you when you're gone. That person's life has no meaning. But then there's another individual who is so crucial. You know, I saw a lady in the news this week who runs a children's home in Nakuru, and she usually rescues children from abusive homes. That is a life that has meaning. It has value. Even if it will end eventually, that woman will not live forever. But for the duration in which she's existing, her life has value to all those children that she has rescued and she's raising until they become adults. So the temporary nature of something does not negate its value. That's what I have to say to Morioki. Number two is another thing he mentioned, which is that any introvert is wrong. There's something wrong with introverts. His opinion is that, yeah, psychologically there's something off with introverts and they should want community. But you see, that position is almost like a religious position. You have these standards of how human beings should be. That word should is what I have problems with. You know, you're assuming that all human beings should want the same things. All human beings should want community. If somebody is an introvert, they don't need it. I wish, by the way, I was that self-sufficient. I wish I was able to find contentment and happiness alone. Personally, I'm not an introvert. I need people. I need friends. I have to talk to somebody at least in a day. I have to call someone, or I have to go outside, even if it means just speaking to the mama mboga. I need that human interaction because personally I'm an extrovert. But there are some people who just don't need it and they're still happy. They are happy, they are content with their lives, and they are flourishing. So why should we impose our values on them? In fact, when I was giving the factors that are responsible for happiness, what I forgot to add is that they don't apply to every single human being. They apply to many human beings, but not all of them, because we are a diverse species and we don't all want or need the same things. So that's a second point. I'm like, I'm like, Morioki, don't be so judgmental towards people who are different from you. Introverts are just different. They just have a different set of requirements for how to flourish in life. So don't go judging them. Don't go imposing your values on them. Let them survive. If they don't need a community or social support, let them continue to live their life as long as they are flourishing. The problem is if they need it and then they don't do anything about it. So that would be an issue. That's the second point I wanted to make. The third thing is to respond to Stano's question. Can you force yourself?
I don't know whether it's your bandwidth. I don't know whether it's your network bandwidth zero or it's mine, because I don't hear you well.
Oh dear. Can somebody else confirm whether it is you are losing me?
You know, Doctor, I heard you well, Doctor. I heard you well.
Oh,
you are clear.
Okay. So,
okay, fine. Let's try to reset my network.
Okay, great. So the third thing I wanted to respond to Stano's question, which was directed to Eston, but I can also answer it. Can you force yourself to be satisfied? Yes, you can, but obviously to a certain extent. Like you can't deny yourself everything. You can't lack the basics and still be satisfied with life. But at least when you have the basics, food, shelter, clothing, health, then you can be satisfied with that. Yeah. I think it was Ringtone who sang this song. Hiyo kidogo tosheka nayo. Yes, I know I am quoting a gospel artist in an atheist meeting. But facts are facts. If he spoke a fact, I will mention the fact. So you can learn to be content with small things. Now, that one of being satisfied, I think there's a happiness expert who put it very well. He said the secret to contentment or being satisfied with your lot in life is to balance your haves and your wants. Your haves and your wants. What do you have? Do you have maybe just some furniture in your house? You don't own your house. You don't own any fixed asset. Let's say a car. Okay, that's not a fixed asset, but it's an asset. Any high value asset like a car or land or machines, a factory, a big business. You don't own any of that, but you're still able to take care of yourself. So you have some things. You have some few things here and there. You have a phone, you have a laptop, you have an oven, cooker. You have some things. You have certain haves, okay? But your wants are conditional. Yeah. What you want is psychological. You can tell yourself, I want to own a boat in the lake, and I want to have the most beautiful woman in the country or in the world. I'm speaking to the men here, of course. For the women, they tend to look at money. So she can tell herself, me, I want to nab the richest man in my society. You can want all these things. You can want to have a Bugatti. You can want so many things. But the more you want, the less content or satisfied you will be. So the secret to contentment is to minimize your wants. Yeah, instead of trying to increase what you have, relentlessly trying to increase what you have, you'll never get to the limit. It's infinite of the things you can have. But if you are content with what you want, then you'll be okay. So balancing your haves versus your wants. Want what you have. Okay, want what you have. Then there was another question that Stano posed: does wealth affect happiness? And he assumed that we all believe it doesn't because of the issue of contentment. But I put it to you that to a certain extent, it does. Because, as I said, you at least need to be able to meet your basic needs. There's just no way you can be happy if you are sick and you don't have the money to pay a doctor to treat you or to buy medication. Malaria will kill you while you are watching. You want to tell me that person will be happy? They won't. And the only deciding factor there is wealth, is them having money. Okay? So to that extent of fulfilling your basic needs, wealth does affect happiness. But beyond a certain point, it doesn't really matter. And in fact, if you become obsessed with accumulating wealth, it can undermine your happiness. And I would also like to add on that point what Bill said. The aspect of inequality is really important. If you are surrounded by wealthy people and you are poor, and perhaps these wealthy people are your peers, you will feel inadequate. You won't be happy. This is the reason why happiness levels in the United States are not the same as they are in Nordic countries like Sweden, Finland, Switzerland. In the Nordic countries, the level of wealth equality is high. Most people fall in the same category, and they tend to shun exuberantly rich individuals. Even if you're rich, hide it, they tell you. Don't buy designer wear and gold necklaces, etc. In those countries, they don't like showing off wealth. But if you go to the United States, and people tend to be happier from those countries, the top 5 countries in the world are overrepresented by the top 5 happiest countries in the world are overrepresented by Nordic countries. And one of the reasons is because of their wealth equality. You see your neighbor, and your neighbor is just like you. They're not balling out of control, living large, while you are just scraping by. So there's that aspect I needed to add. Last point is now the question which Stano asked: how do social factors affect happiness? And you spoke about the positive. Let's start with the positive one. I think one of them is having people by your side when you are going through a joyous moment, somebody to clap for you when you perhaps have secured that job El Maestro here has been complaining about his perpetual unemployment. So the day El Maestro will come here and tell us he has a job, we'll be so happy. We will celebrate. Tutakata keki, I tell you, in the next hangout when El Maestro tells us he has a job. So having that, people to clap for you, to celebrate life's ups, if I may put it that way, is one way that it leads to happiness. Another way is also now the opposite. When you are down, when you undergo a difficult moment, a tragedy, let's say you are in an accident, or let's say you lost your father or your family member, that social support is crucial in keeping you above the water, if I can put it that way. Yeah, so let me leave it there for now. Then maybe I will add the negative aspects of social factors. Thank you.
I am fine, thank you for those aspects. Let's hear from Morioki.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, I just want to tell Dorcas, I remember when I was very young, I was an extrovert. Then as I got older, I became an introvert. Then when I look back, I see that it was a problem. Then when I went to church, back to church, the youth group, I got my confidence back. Yeah, so like even when kids are young, many are they're very free. Then as they get older, they get shy. Then people see there's a problem. But when you put people in groups, in social circles, it builds people's self-esteem. Okay, it happened to me. I was an introvert, and it kind of held me back in many things. Yeah. So now, but when you go with people, your mind opens up. You share ideas. Your mind opens. So I think it's critical for us to be social, because your mind, if you're alone, your mind can be shut, surely. But when you're with people, you hear this person says this person says that. So when you're with people, your mind opens. And also, I want us to talk about a question. If I say life has no meaning, but human beings are given it meaning. As in, life by itself has no meaning, but human beings have given it meaning. Then also for El Maestro, like El Maestro, I want him to get a job. If El Maestro gets a job, it would be great. But I've noticed when people start working, they see challenges in the job. As in, you'll be happy for that day when you get a job. When you get in, you see that it's challenging, it's demanding, it's training. So again, that happiness is temporary. Thanks.
Yeah, that is a good thing. But for me, I think I'm in the middle. So I can be introvert, and at the same time I can be extrovert. So I'm in between. I can find happiness in both sides. So it depends, because sometimes introvert is when you need peace. You don't need any interruption. So it's the moment that you need to be peaceful with no interaction. So, and you feel a sense of joy when you are alone, living peacefully. But sometimes you can be, yes.
Stano, I thought introvert means your character. I thought introvert is you always like that. You like being by yourself always, not one time, always. Most of the time, you want to be alone. I thought that's an introvert. As in always want to be alone. Always, yeah, not one time, always. That's what I'm thinking.
No, Morioki, I think it can be 50-50. There might be some people who like to be introverted 50% of the time, and then they like to mix with people 50%. So it's not one time. That's the way you are reducing it. So you can be an introvert extrovert, an introverted extrovert.
That's okay then. If there's a balance, I'm cool. That's a good balance. That's a balance. Thanks.
Wait, but Muruki, you are confusing. You got the meaning of an introvert wrong. An introvert is someone who is shy and does not like to speak a lot. Not someone who just want to stay alone. Someone he can be among people, but he rarely speaks anything. He's introvert and he's okay that way.
Oh, I thought introvert is
Can be
somebody
among.
who keeps to themselves. That's what I thought.
No,
Somebody
no,
who keeps to
no,
themselves. Yeah.
no.
Okay, fine. So
Yeah. So I think sometime I interact with those two names, with those two characteristics. I possess them. So we have not yet deal with the negative effect about the socio. We are still on social factor. How can social factor affect happiness negatively? Society cause you unhappy. Maybe because of quarreling, maybe of the boundary of the land, any land dispute, among other things. So let's hear about stigmatization, if there is. So how do social factors affect happiness? Okay, let's start with the Dorcas.
Okay, since I had shared positive aspects.
Because my question, remember, my question, please. I asked a question. Thanks.
What was the question?
Yeah, I
Remind me.
said, life has no meaning, but human beings have given it meaning.
So to me, that argument is just semantic. We are splitting hairs over when the meaning occurs. Does it occur before human beings get into the picture, or does it occur after human beings get into the picture? And for me, it is inconsequential when it happens, as long as at the end of the day, there's meaning. Whether it is a human being who assigns it, and of course I agree with you, we are the ones who assign it. There's no God somewhere to give life meaning, or there's no universe to give life meaning. The universe does not exercise agency. It's an uncaring entity. So the universe does not give life meaning. It is human beings who give life meaning. But once you give life meaning, it has meaning. So it has meaning. Life has meaning when you give it meaning. That is why I will not support anybody who says life has no meaning. It becomes null and void when somebody has assigned meaning to it. So obviously their life has meaning. But as I said, there are some people whose lives do not have meaning. Yeah, their lives don't have value. They don't have significance in their lives. So yeah, no need to split hairs. No need to split hairs on whether there's that inherent value, inherent meaning, or assigned meaning. At the end of the day, there's meaning that has been given. So on that question of oh yeah, by the way, I wanted to weigh in on the introvert extrovert thing. The dictionary definition, or actually the psychological understanding of who an introvert is vis-a-vis an extrovert. An introvert is somebody who gets energized. They get energized from spending time alone, and they feel drained when they spend time with people. What's the natural consequence of that? That introverts will keep to themselves. They would choose reading a book instead of coming to a SAS-K hangout, outdoor hangout. They chose to read a book or to watch a next Netflix series rather than to go and play football with friends. So introverts can go to communities, but they feel drained by them. They don't like it. So they will tend to avoid it if they can. But now if it's your job, let's say you're an introvert, but you're a salesperson and you have to interact with people all the time. You're an introvert, but you are a pastor. Yeah, you have to interact with people all the time because you need to pay the bills. It's not because it's your personality. Okay, so that's an introvert. Conversely, an extrovert is somebody who feels energized when they are with people. They feel that sense of enthusiasm and they feel refreshed when they interact with people. Yeah, it's not necessarily how many times you interact with people that determines whether you're an extrovert or an introvert. It's how you feel when you are with people. If you feel energized, if you feel refreshed, you're an extrovert. If you feel drained when you are with people, you are an introvert. So for me, I feel refreshed whenever I'm with people. That's why I'm so excited about tomorrow, our 40-kilometer marathon challenge. I'm going to be with people. And then on Sunday, I'm going to be with my sparkling girls from my book club. And we're going to spend an afternoon here at Sukari Burgers. And I'm very excited. I usually after those meetups, it's like I don't feel like leaving them. I just want to continue to just be with them. That's how you know you are an extrovert. But if you count the number of times I am physically with people, it's not that much. It's not that much. Yeah. So it's not the number, but how they make you feel, how comfortable you are in a social setup. Okay, now, Stano's question, how do social factors negatively affect happiness? The first one is on deceptiveness. If you are in a social group, sometimes they can deceive you into believing false ideas. For example, if you are a manosphere fan, you know those people? There's somebody here. In fact, he logged into our meeting and he has left. I believe he consumes manosphere content. Yeah. So they can deceive you into believing that women are inferior, women need to worship you, and any woman who does not worship you, it doesn't deserve the space that she occupies. So yeah, you can be misinformed, you can be deceived. If you're in a social group, somebody can come up and tell you that there's this investment plan they have for you. You just need to give them 100K, and then kumbe, it is a lie. Or they can also deceive you about certain facts. You know, they can tell you that COVID is not real. There are people who are spreading around that rumor, and if you belong to a social group that has bought into that conspiracy theory, you could be fooled. Okay, that's one. Number two is intrusiveness. Sometimes they interfere too much in your life, especially regarding your romantic life. Who is Dorcas dating? Why isn't she dating anybody? Or why is she dating that guy of all people? Or now she's dating somebody new. See, it was just 3 months ago when she had another person. Why is Dorcas sleeping around with all these men? I'm not saying that I do. I'm using myself as an example, yeah, on how these people really interfere people can start interfering in your private life. They can become very intrusive about how you live your life, how you raise your children, how you spend your leisure time. You know, they have an opinion, and they want you to live by their opinion. Another negative effect of social groups is divisions. It can promote divisions when people require you to follow their path. So the moment you have a divergent opinion, then they will exclude you. For instance, I'm seeing this on our group. I'm seeing that there's a lot of homophobia on our group, and it's really worrying. It's really worrying. Yes, Clement, I'm talking to you. And Otieri, I'm talking to you. I'm calling you guys out. You guys are homophobes. It's terrible. So anyway, you can find that if you belong to a certain group that has those homophobic tendencies, then they might sideline you if you come out as gay. They might excommunicate you. So for us, we say it's a safe space, and if you're gay, you're welcome. Although you will face some opposition from those homophobes, but we will not excommunicate you for being gay. So yeah, there's that issue of division. There's
But
issue of
on
division
that,
that's social. Mm-hmm.
on that, Dorcas, can be also opposite.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
How?
If many people are against it,
Mm-hmm.
they can excommunicate you. Because if majority are on that side are against, because like here, the way you are giving an example, maybe two are the one against. So they may not feel happiness because we are against them. Yeah, and it can also be opposite, vice versa.
Are you? We are against gay people, or we are against homophobes? Which one are you referring to?
Maybe I'm not understanding, but let's first of all talk about maybe gay. Can it be in both sides?
Right.
Yeah, gayism can discommunicate you for not supporting them if they are in majority, and at the same time can be opposite if the other side is the majority.
Yes, yes. But I feel like it is justified if you excommunicate somebody for being bigoted. You know, you are hating someone over an aspect that does not concern you, first of all, and more likely than not, they had no choice. You cannot control who you are attracted to. So I think I would support anybody who excommunicates such people. It's just that maybe we as admins of SAS-K don't have the spine to remove people for that one, because maybe, I don't know, it hasn't been raised, but if members make noise and say, we want to excommunicate homophobes, we will listen. But I have not had a lot of sentiment. Maybe one or two people have spoke about it, but for the most part, the members have not said we should excommunicate homophobes. But at the end of the day, I think it's important not to discriminate against people. Like, let's use the example of race. If somebody was racist, or if somebody was tribalist in the Kenyan context, if somebody is tribalistic, we excommunicate them. I think that's justified because they were being discriminatory, they were being prejudiced and unjust. Yeah. Last point on the negative effects of social factors on happiness. This is promoting guilt. Promoting guilt and low self-esteem. A social group can make you feel like you are not good enough unless you do the thing they want you to do, right? For instance, if they are a couple of drinkers and you don't drink, so they can make you feel like there's something wrong with you. Like, especially if it's a group of men, they can be telling you, something is wrong with you. Everybody has to have their poison. How can you not have a poison? How can you not take alcohol? You are not a real man. And they can make you feel guilty. They can make you feel less than because you're not conforming. So that issue of conformity is really a problem because it undermines your ability to be yourself. It takes away your freedom. So yeah, I know I've spoken for long. Let me leave it there. Thank you.
Yeah, that is good. So the factors that affect the happiness can be biological, psychological, and social factors. But we are dealing with the social factors. But because Eugenie is here, if you have any opinion, you can give us you can give something about the biological or psychological and the social factors.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hello. Am I audible?
We can hear. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, first of all, I came in late, but I think I was able to catch up with the discussion. So yeah, so to me, when it comes to happiness, and atheists, I'm not of the idea that happiness is like a destination, like one is in a constant, a permanent state of, elation or positiveness or feeling good. Like to me, it's realistically not possible unless you're on drugs, which again, still they won't really make you permanently, they won't give you permanent elation. It's part of life to be, sometimes you're happy, sometimes you're on the baseline, sometimes you're sad or, almost close to depressed. Like it's part of life. Like that's that's one of the packages of life. Like you can't have just one. You always have it all, whether it's happiness, sadness, you take it all in. Like that's life. So, but yes, we do have some factors that that influence the likelihood of one being in a constant state of almost constant state of elation, though not permanently. Like it can be a couple of minutes, hours, and based on what to do. And yes, we do have some biological factors that influence that. See, the same way we have people who are predisposed to getting depression, like genetically, like they have some sort of mutations that affect some brain structures they have. So it increases the likelihood of them, um, perceiving life through the negative side and ending up having depression. But it's not everyone who's like that. We have people who are predisposed like that. So I think that also affects their happiness. They can't really, probably it's hard for them to perceive happiness when in that state of depression, because yes, they have some structural or genetic changes that affects how they perceive, happiness and sadness and all that. And also, apart from the biological factors, yes, we also have some social factors as well. So society as well can influence how happy you can be or how sad you can be. For instance, if we have things like social inequalities, things that affect some minority groups, like someone talked about homophobia, which, yes, I think it's a very concerning bit. And to me, I take it's just another form of prejudice, which is never really justified. It's very much unjustified. I have never come across any justification for any form of prejudice, and sometimes even sometimes in the group, someone had asked, like, what if I just find them disgusting? Does it mean that I'm a homophobe? So if you come across someone who uses the same line towards people of color or people, like, for instance, if I say, like, okay, I'm not racist, but I find the black people disgusting, how will that be taken? It's absurd. It doesn't really make any sense. So it can never really be justified. You should ask yourself, why do you find it disgusting? um is there really a legit reason why you find some group of people disgusting? So it's never really, it doesn't really make sense. I find people who carry such forms of prejudice as irrational folk. They can never really justify anything they're saying to justify their irrational feelings. Yeah. So that's one of the example how society can influence um, one being happy or not. Um, Another thing how society can do that is true. Yeah, society can actually ostracize you for being different. If you're different for the way you are, the person you are, the kind of mindset you are, yeah, society has a propensity of doing that. It's one of the tactics it has to keep people in line. So most of the time it doesn't really embrace people who are diverse thinkers. Like, it wants to give you a certain kind of thinking to have a certain kind of conclusion. So any form of diversionary thinking is usually discouraged by the larger bunch, or by the majority. So yeah, I think society can do that. Apart from that, we also have some psychological factors as well that influence one's state of happiness, probably through what they experience in life. We have the issues of trauma, PTSD, and all that. Yeah, they have a propensity of determining how one can be happy in life or not being happy in life. Also, yeah, we also have things like addiction and drugs, any sort of addiction. This again falls, this year I will say it falls in the social bit and in the biological bit. Because when it comes to things like addiction usually rewires your brain as well. um it it specifically affects your reward center, places where your brain produces the feel good hormone, the dopamine, the hormone that once it gets produced, you feel good. And it also interacts with another hormone called serotonin, which again is usually involved with the moods. Yeah, being in good moods, being in bad moods, it's usually determined by the levels of these neurotransmitters or hormones in the brain. So when it comes to addiction, we have restructuring of the brain. So once you're dependent on one thing and it comes to a point where you cut off that dependency abruptly, it sort of affects that same reward system. So you'll have tendencies of being in constant low moods until you get your source of happiness, whether it's drugs, whether it's porn, whether it's sex, and everything as well. So yeah, whatever you do actually affects your propensity of being happy or not. So if you're doing things you don't like, whether you haven't structured your brain to like it, again, you won't really experience some sort of mood elations or happiness, in short. But I'm of the idea that, yeah, it's not a constant state or a permanent destination. It's part of life. Like, you're high, you're low. That's how it is. Yeah, thanks.
But hope you can do average to know whether you are happy or sad.
Yeah. To be on the safe side, yeah, being on the average or the baseline, it's actually okay, because we also have some psychiatrical disorders which presents in constant or frequent fluctuations. Like, one today is very happy, we call it mania. Like they are very happy, then the next moment they are very sad, they are depressed. So they have episodes, abrupt episodes of manic depressive episodes, which in other words it's called bipolar disorders. So yeah, it's really not normal to be on the extremes and then shifting all of a sudden. Being on the baseline is sort of the majority, where the majority is, so which we consider it as normal or sane. Yeah, so so it makes sense to be on the baseline, not in the extremes. Because if you're on the extreme on the bad side, you will be depressed, and if you're on the other side, you're manic, and which is still not healthy. Yeah.
By the way, on that, because you are the doctor, what can you say about the people who get angry very fast and happy very fast? Or you can find somebody have that emotion of happiness, but all of a sudden the thing change. And is there
Well,
any solution?
Well, I wouldn't really say that objectively, like it's actually a problem that needs to be solved. Unless objectively I observe some patterns which will probably put these individuals into a certain criteria, then a diagnosis can be made if they fit a certain criteria. However, people being, people have very different and diverse triggers of happiness and sadness. For instance, you might find someone, if you just cook them, if they just cook for themselves food at home versus if they go and eat takeout, they experience some sort of joy if they cook their own food. Like people are different, and then you will find someone who has another trigger for happiness, and people are very different. So you can't really objectively say that a certain person or certain person B, for instance, um, alcohol seems to make him be happy very much, and then when it comes to, let's say, telling him to go to work, he gets angry. That's really not enough to call it a problem, or if probably it doesn't really cause any inconveniences in their own lives, I wouldn't really say it's pathological, so that it needs any solving. So it's sort of hard. It's hard to approach it that way, and but unless they present with other features that will really raise my concerns. For instance, if it affects their day-to-day living, their health, otherwise, so that will clearly be a problem. But if it doesn't inconvenience them, I don't think it's enough to call it a problem.
Yeah, that is a good. So let's hear from Murioki before we go to our last point about whether the atheists are happy and why.
Okay, thanks. Just to answer Eugene, because of what happened in the group recently with the gays about disgusting. I think race can never be disgusting because race is natural. Like Africans, our hair and our skin is because of where we are. Europeans because of where they are. Then try. I know somebody who used to hate how Luos talk. When he hears a Luo talking, he gets disgusted by it sounds. And somebody else also, when he hears a Luo laughing, talking, they laugh. You see, it didn't make sense because tribe was something made for communication. And not for gays, when it's disgusting, I think the change from anus from a vagina to an anus. Now somebody will be disgusted by that change because you move
Okay,
from a
Murioki.
vagina to an anus. Thanks.
Yeah, Murioki.
Hello.
We
Hello.
understand
Can
you.
I
You can answer him with the
Okay. Okay. Morioki, I don't think you're really making any sense if you think about those lines. The same way you're saying that, for instance, people being different in color, it's natural. Yes, it's natural. People being born in different ethnicities, it's natural. Yes, because no one chose to be in whatever ethnicity they're born. So being disgusted by one's ethnicity, the way you're saying it doesn't make sense. I wonder why you think I wonder why you think just hating on gays becomes natural. because to you, being gay, you're equating it to, I think you're talking about sodomy. I don't think where you're coming from. Morioki, does being gay equal to sodomy? And that's question number one. Question number two, do you really want to tell us that it's only gay people who practice anal sex, Morioki? And it's being practiced by heterosexual individuals that they actually love. So I think if you sit down, you love to call yourself a critical thinker. Now practice what you preach. Be the critical thinker you say you are. Now sit down, look at the facts, and then tell us why do you equate being gay to anal sex? Do you see lesbians practicing anal sex? Or why do you think that being gay equals to anal sex? So it's something abhorrent. And again, what's wrong with anal sex? Does it concern you? So is it really a good reason to hate someone because the moment they tell you they're gay, you're thinking about
I don't
anal
hate
sex,
them.
so you're disgusted?
Don't hate them. I don't hate them, Eugene. I don't hate them.
You
I
don't
don't
make
hate
any
them. Just
sense,
the act.
Morioki. If
Just
you're
the
being
act. I don't
straight
hate them.
about it,
Just what
if
they
you're
do.
being
Just what they do.
objective about it, Morioki.
Yeah. So
Morioki, just
my point
be
was
honest
we
with yourself.
are. Yeah, my
I
point
don't
is
hate
we
them.
were.
I can't
Morioki
hate
is
them.
out of the topic. Morioki, I think we are out of the topic. We should focus with the topic. But on that, is hating people eating the idomine, like idomine, by seeing it as disgusting. Is that not part of the natural? And if not, then is it wrong? So you, so we can move on by giving him many examples. Yeah. Okay. Let's hear from Dorcas. Do you want to comment something, or we can move on to the next topic?
Yes, next topic.
Okay, fine. So our next topic is how do you think about atheists? Are atheists happy or unhappy? And what are the factors that affect happiness of atheists?
Yes, that is the $1 million question. And before I answer it, I still have to comment. I still have to comment on that debate, even though, as you said, Mr. Moderator, it is off topic. It's off topic. We are not discussing homophobia or gayism today, but since Morioki threw it out there, then we might as well confront it. So first thing, Morioki, we are not accusing you of hating gay people. However, you are justifying prejudice towards gay people. You are justifying it. And even you have shown those tendencies yourself. You keep saying there's something wrong with gays, there's something wrong with them because we all did not come from gay sex. So you equate morality with utility. And one can even go down that same path and tell you that the utility they get is bonding. Yeah, sex is not just for recreation, for procreation, the way Morioki imagines. It is also for bonding. And gay people find value in the bonding that comes with sex. So it does serve a purpose. Secondly, you're trying to justify people's hatred towards gay men because they're disgusted by it. And you're saying we should not compare racial prejudice to gay prejudice because race is natural. Yeah, you're saying race is natural, and it doesn't make sense to be disgusted towards something natural. Even being gay is natural. We told you this time and time again that 10% of primate species exhibit homosexual behavior. They are natural. They were not socialized. They did not watch porn to make them perform gay sex on each other, those animals, the bonobos monkeys. No, it was natural to them. And we keep telling you this time and time again that being natural is not equal to being moral. But you'll take us down the same rabbit hole. We'll go round and round and round. And unfortunately, we won't get there. So this thing of disgust, let me finalize on that. This thing of disgust, it is possible to be disgusted by race. Racists out there are disgusted by dark skin. They're like, yuck, dark skin is just, it's dirty. Yeah, or Black people have such wide noses. Yeah, and it's definitely unjustifiable to think that way, but they still use disgust. Similarly, this aspect of anal sex being disgusting and people using it as a justification to shun gay people is not rational, because at the end of the day, people, as I said, it's natural. It has been observed in other primate species, and inakuhusu nini pilipili usioila, inakuhusu nini what they do in their bedroom does not affect you. So I think that's what I needed to say on that issue. But let's not continue down that rabbit hole. Let's get back to the topic, which is, are atheists happy?
Yeah, the topic is who are happier, atheists or religious, and what are the factors that are affecting the atheists to be happier or not to be happier than religious people.
Okay. Oh, I dropped my bulb. Okay, but it's not broken. You still see me. You still see me. Okay. That question does not have a direct answer. It does not have a direct answer, honestly. It has to be contextualized, that question. Are atheists happier than religious people? Yes, they are, if the society under consideration is a secular country. If we are considering Europe, Europe is becoming less and less religious over time. In the UK, I think recently they found out the number of irreligious people is more than the number of religious people. In Scandinavian countries, that has been true for the longest time. So if the majority people in your country are atheists, then you are likely to be happier. I'm hearing feedback. I think it's Anthony. Please mute your mic. We're hearing feedback on your end, Anthony. Yeah. So as I was saying, if you belong to a majority secular nation, a non-religious country like Finland, like Lithuania, or other European countries, then you will be happier. You will be happier than religious people because you are the majority. However, causation is not correlation. We must take cognizance of that fact. Just because it so happens that the atheists in majority atheist countries are happier, it doesn't mean it's their atheism that is causing the happiness. It just means it's all the other factors, because we've listed all the factors that contribute towards happiness. We talked about your personality, we talked about life events, we talked about your economic status, we talked about purpose, having a sense of purpose, having social support. All of those put together tend to affect your happiness. So those are the things that are causing their happiness. It's not necessarily atheism. We have to acknowledge that. Even if a point is favoring us, we shouldn't use it if it's an illogical argument. But that's one aspect, that if you belong to a country where majority of the people are non-religious, you likely will be happier than the religious people. Why? Because those secular nations tend to be welfare states. They tend to give you social support. For instance, in a place like Finland, you get paid vacations, like you are allowed to go on vacation, sometimes required to go on vacation, and the government pays for it. So you'll have work-life balance. You'll go to, and they have a name for it, but most families in Finland tend to have another house, a second home near the sea. So you go to the beach every day and you're being paid for that vacation. Imagine how awesome is that? So they have supportive governments in that regard. In terms of their economic status, we talked about wealth inequality contributing to happiness. If I am miserable, I'm struggling to pay rent, yet my next door neighbor is balling out of control, they're living lavishly, chances are I will be unhappy because of comparison. Human beings can't help but compare. But as we said, in these social democratic states in the Nordic regions, they tend to be equal in terms of their wealth. And so there won't be those comparisons, so chances are they will be happy. Their health care, they have functioning structures. Yeah? Their health care, free education, paid maternity leave, short work days, they really emphasize work-life balance. All those factors are the ones that lead to higher rates of happiness in secular nations, majority atheist countries. Now, I have to also bring out the other component, which is
But
that
on that,
right.
Dorcas, what if the religious country, they also apply those things?
Aha. If they apply those things, then they will have the same result. That's why I had to qualify my statement and say that correlation is not causation. Just because secular nations tend to be happier, they tend to be overrepresented in the list of the happiest countries on earth, it doesn't mean it's the atheism that is causing the happiness, it's the other factors. So yes, if you are a religious country and you apply those same factors, you will get the same results. You'll get happy people. So we have to acknowledge that. But according to the data, when you look at the list of most religious countries, they tend to be the most unhappy. They tend to be in the bottom of that list because of religious extremism. You know, places like Afghanistan, places like Yemen, places like Iraq, they are very religious and they're also very miserable. Yeah. Places like Burundi. In fact, I was told no African nation appears in the top, was it top 50? The top 50 happiest countries on earth. None. We are not there, not even one, because of many factors. Those factors, we lack your economic status, we are wallowing in poverty, we don't have social support, etc. We are in war zones, and then there's corruption, there's such vast wealth inequality between our politicians and the ordinary mwananchi. So yes, I have to answer a yes to that question you just asked. Now,
I think I can interrupt here.
Right.
I'm trying to see how we can be able to connect between religious and non-religious, putting aside all the other factors that affect everybody. Because we outline all the factors that affect everybody, now we want to see what can make atheists happier than religious, given the same factors about the economic and the whatever. Yeah, and I think that is where we can go into
Can I
social
finish?
factors.
Can
Yeah.
I finish my point before you bring in the other angle? Maybe I'll make that point later. But I wanted to acknowledge the other side of the coin, that atheists tend to be unhappy in majority religious countries. If you live in a country where most people are religious and you are an atheist, it is likely you will be unhappy. Why is that? Because of the divisions. You remember some of the negative factors I stated. One of them I said was the divisions that come from belonging to a certain group. So with religion, they promote an us versus them mentality, and atheists are regarded as them. Us, we are us, us, we are religious, and those ones are them. Yeah. So they're going to sideline you, especially if you are an open atheist, you need a job, they will think twice before hiring you, especially if it is a religious institution. Let's say you go to a Catholic school and you are applying to be a teacher in a Catholic school and you are an open atheist, they'll not give you that position. Or you are in the dating market and you are looking to find your significant other in the dating market, you tell them you are an atheist, they're like, me, my husband or my wife has to be God-fearing. So you are isolated. You are isolated, and you also lack social support. The social support that comes from a religious community. You won't find that from a majority religious country like ours. Here, you would find that community support unless you start one, which is what we are trying to do at SAS-K. So the religious tend to be happier because of that, of discrimination, the negative component, but the positive component is their sense of community, their sense of optimism and hope, and the solace, and even purpose, in as much as we dispute that point of purpose. Religious people tend to claim that they get a sense of purpose from their belief. So those things are likely to make them happier than the atheist. Finally, an atheist, if they've gone through a critical thinking process, you just didn't wake up one day and become an atheist. You really thought critically about living God. An atheist tends to be somebody who looks at reality as it is. You don't look at it with rose-colored lenses. The religious, they tend to sell you that false hope. I know the plans I have for you, plans to give you a future and a hope. Yeah, even before you were formed in your mother's womb, I knew you, Jeremiah. So they tend to look at life with rose-colored lenses. They don't look at it realistically, but that can have the effect of making them happy. Yeah. Conversely, with the atheists, you are very critical. We are very critical. We are very skeptical. We are looking through things and we are seeing all the BS going on around us, and perhaps that might not lead to happiness per se, but it does lead to freedom. And for me, it's a happy trade-off. Let me leave it there. It's a mouthful. Thank you.
Yeah, that is very well said. So let's hear from Murioki.
Okay, thanks, Dano. For me, I'll say like in Kenya, I think atheists are less happy because now like we have a hangout after so long. Like I wish it will be like every Sunday. Like I remember in church, we used to meet on Sundays. Then even between the week, we meet. Like maybe on Wednesday, we meet for Bible study. Then again on Sunday. That sense of community gave so much meaning in life. When I here we'll meet after see how long we do a video shoot, we stay for so long. Trust me, if they are frequent, we'll have issues, of course. There'll be issues because like human being, but it will be more empowering and better if they are more frequent. Now we stay for so long. Then Christians every Sunday between the week. Trust me, I think in Kenya they're happier than atheists. Because when you see like now these guys in the group, I can out Thierry, I don't know who he is. These are who else? Troy. I've never seen them. I just named the group. But I'm sure if they are Christians and we used to go to church, we would meet frequently. But not because we are atheists, we just see them in the group. They don't come for hangout, and we take so long to meet. So I think like in Kenya, atheists are not happy, like the doctor is saying, because we are few and there's a discrimination. Thanks.
Can I ask Morioki a question, Stano?
It's fine.
So Morioki, if I may ask you, what if the atheist doesn't consider atheism to be their whole personality? What if they found a community, for instance, like what I'm going to do on Saturday, tomorrow, the marathon group, maybe it's a sports group, maybe they play football and they hang out with those people after the match. They hang out with them, they have a laugh with them. So they're getting all the benefits of community from a non-religious group or even a non-atheist group, but they're still getting that support. Wouldn't they be happy? Yeah. So I'm imagining Kweku, the one from Ghana, the member in our group who is from Ghana. He says there are no active atheist groups in Ghana, but he was playing football last Saturday with they were believers, but they were not bringing religion into the discussion or atheism into the discussion. And I think he was happy. Don't you think there's that other angle you haven't explored? You're putting all the burden on an atheist community. Oh, let's meet on Sunday every week. Let's meet as an atheist community. Can't we also look for community in other areas? We can find other hobbies to give us community.
Yeah, it's true. Doctors, it's true. Like, see, I'm in a vegan group. And not because of atheists. I don't know what to say. Because it's good to go to a place where you'll see no prayers. Actually, let's give a word of prayer before we meet. Let's pray. Let's maybe quote a Bible verse. Then after the meeting, we pray again. It's nice to have a group of people who don't do that at all. Don't do nothing to do with prayers. We just meet as non-believers and we go home. Most meetings there has to be a prayer or something before and after. I don't know.
Okay, fine. So, but you can try to find a community where there is less religious. Don't just pick in the people, the group that is more religious. They cannot, for example, like me, I had a cousin meeting, but I find they come up with more religious. Every time they read the Bible, they preach before we come to our agenda. So, and I decided to quit that meeting of my cousin meeting because of those. But just the way Dorcas have said, you can look where you are interested in, maybe in football, volleyball, maybe playing chess, and you interact with the people because you are trying to look for happiness, among other things. Yeah, don't focus only on the one point of happiness, but you can also explore the other area. Let's hear from another person about, we are still discussing why atheists are more happier or less happier than the religious, and I think we have already seen the main is because of the majority. If the religious are a majority and you are in minority, you will not be able to find that community. that will give you sense of belonging. So another person can contribute about that. Why atheists are happier or less happier, or whether we are all the same. Anthony. Okay, for me, I will just say stigma. Stigma can cause an atheist not to be happy, because everywhere you move, people may call you devil worshiper or may isolate you. So you don't have that interaction with the other people because you are in minority. So you don't have that community, just the way Murioki was saying. So, and that will cause you unhappier. And that thing also, just the way Dorcas have said, it can also affect you in the area that you are working. In your job, maybe people are not embracing you the way they are supposed to embrace you. So you get that stigma or that isolation and become unhappy. So those factors can affect the atheist happiness. Unless there is anyone who want to say something, I want to know how we can be able to cope the stigmatization or stigma to get happiness. Are atheists who face stigma, how can he do, or what can he do for him to gain happiness in his life or her life? When you are facing stigma, what can you do to make sure you get happiness in your life? That is the last statement. So people surrounding you maybe are against you or they are isolating you. What can you do to get happiness in your life? Yeah, let's hear from Dorcas.
Okay. Before I answer your question, Stano, I wanted to add a certain point to this discussion. Because why are we discussing it? Are atheists happy? We're discussing it because this is often a point brought up by religious people in defense of their faith. When you are in a debate with them, they'll tell you, me, I'm a Christian because as a Christian, I'm happier than you, an atheist. So they're using that as a point to advance their cause. Unfortunately, that is not a very good point, because whether something makes you happy or not, whether something gives you benefits or not, is not a commentary on its truthfulness. Just because Christians in majority religious countries, Christians in majority Christian nations, or Muslims in majority Muslim nations, although that is not always true because of the terrorism and what have you, just because they're happier does not make religion true. We must not forget that point. Another point we mustn't forget is that for us as atheists, it can't do anything for us. You cannot force yourself to believe something simply because it has benefits. Once you believe something, your mind is already there. You can't change your mind. You know, it's like what? Gravity. If you've observed that gravity is a fact. And in fact, or maybe I should not even use believe, I should use know. Once you know something is true, learning about its benefits for the believers will not make you change your mind. So, for instance, if I am aware that if I drop a ball from up here to the ground, it's going to fall down, I can't force myself to start believing that it won't happen. That no. It's beneficial for me to believe that the ball will go up. So let me start believing it. You can't force yourself to believe something that you know is false. So we already know that God is fictional, He's not real. Even if they tell us that believing in God will make them happy, it will not do anything for us because we cannot force ourselves now to start believing in this fictional character. If somebody comes and tells me Santa Claus or the tooth fairy makes children happy, so because of that, I should believe in Santa Claus or the tooth fairy. You see how ridiculous it is? It's the same logic if you apply it to a God, regardless of which God it is. Just because it's making people happy doesn't make it true. We must never forget that. Now, back to Stanos' question, which is how can atheists make themselves happier given those points that we have raised, especially for those of us who are living in majority religious countries. I think one way, as we've said, just go back to the root causes. Why are people happy? What are the factors that affect happiness? And then apply that to yourself. So one aspect which we said was community. So find community. Find community. You can look for secular groups like ours. But as Moreki has pointed out, we don't have as frequent meetings as you would need maybe to have that sense of real community. Our physical meetings are only once a month for logistical reasons, and our virtual meetings are only once a week. So find other communities. Don't let religion or the lack of religion be the only defining factor in your life. Go to Eventbrite, go to Meetup, go to TikTok, and Google events happening in Nairobi, and look for something that resonates with you. It could be a dance group, it could be a cycling group, it could be whatever, but just find different. And in fact, by the more the communities you find, the more fulfilled you will be. Because one group, if you put all your eggs in this one basket called SAS-K, we might disappoint you. You see, there might be bigots in there. If you are gay, there'll be homophobes in SAS-K. Or if you're a woman, there will be misogynists, because we have misogynists in our group. Yeah? So the group one group can disappoint you, but you can look for several other groups. Maybe if you're a woman like me, you find a female-only group, doing a female-only activity. I don't know what would be a female-only activity, but you can find females. If you are finding that the misogynists are everywhere, yeah, these woman haters are too many. So maybe just go and find a female-only group, but find as many communities as possible that will insulate you from the weaknesses in one community, because none is perfect. That's how you can increase your happiness. Another way you can increase it, as we said, factors that contribute to happiness, we said having a sense of purpose, having a sense of meaning. You need to create your own meaning. You need to find something bigger than yourself, a cause that you care about. We have Morioki here who cares about veganism. You can find something that you're just passionate about. I don't know, football. El Maestro here likes football a lot, so he can join those fun clubs, and it can give him a sense of meaning. For me, as I told you guys, I am passionate about women's rights, about feminism. I'm passionate about many things. I'm passionate about literature and poetry. So I belong to literature, poetry, and storytelling because I am a performing storyteller. So I find community there, and I also engage in storytelling. I'm also passionate about secularism and atheism. That's why I'm a leader in this organization, and I'm always preoccupied with planning for our activities. This gives me a sense of purpose because I'm looking at something bigger than myself. You guys are counting on me to make sure that everything is running smoothly, that we get the video shoots, we mobilize all the suppliers, we do this and that. It really gives me a sense of purpose, and I love it. Yeah, I love it. So likewise, look for passions that you have or ways you can contribute to society that can increase your chances of happiness. And then the final thing I'll say on how we as atheists can increase our happiness is our economic status. Money is not money is not everything. Money is the only thing. Whoever says money doesn't matter is just not shopping in the right places. Anyway, I'm kidding.
Money.
Yeah.
Well,
So
yeah, go
I
ahead.
think it's important to fulfill your basic needs. Yeah, I'm getting feedback from Chris. Please mute. Okay, thank you. I think you need to be able to fulfill your basic needs. You can't be happy if you can't pay rent. You can't be happy if you don't have fare to go meet people, or you don't have airtime, or you don't have money to take yourself to hospital. So go and hustle, people. Hustle. Get skills so that you can be hired. If you are looking at employment, concentrate on what is in demand right now and get those skills. We have lots of universities that are offering free courses. Go and study, go and learn how to code, go and learn AI, etc. And find yourself a job. Or if the job market is saturated, it's not working, start something, start a business. Hustle so that you are able to sustain yourself, you're able to fulfill your basic needs, and that way you can be on the path to happiness. Kwa hayo mengi ninaachia hapo. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. So we are looking for the solution to improve our happiness or to improve the person who may feel is not happy. So let's hear from Morioki as I wait the others.
Thanks, Tanu. I think another way, which I find very critical, is good behavior. Like I do a lot of I do charity work. I help animals. Now, such things, doing good for society as an atheist will make a big difference. Because me, when I'm with Muslims and Christians, they always wonder. In fact, I was a Christian once who said that SAS-K, the group I am in, I'm being misled. They are misguiding me because I try to be my best. So they said, you shouldn't be an atheist. You should be a Christian or a Muslim. So I think good behavior is critical. If wherever you are, you have your A game and not faking. You're being real. You're being nice to people, nice to animals. Then no RTI. These people are not bad. So behaving good can give you peace of mind. Thanks.
I'm not getting it.
I'm saying good behavior.
Because
good behavior.
you can
good
you can
behavior.
have a good behavior and still not be happy.
No, if we do good,
Yeah, there is people who are very morally right, but are not happy.
Can I interject?
Morioki was answering the wrong question. Morioki was answering the question on maybe how atheists can become accepted in society, but he was not answering the question of how to be happy. So Morioki,
No.
you are off topic.
No, Docas, if you're accepted, you'll be happy. You know, Docas, once you're accepted in Kenya, see, it will come that thing you call happiness. Once they see you have good behavior, you like to be accepted more than if you have bad behavior.
No, that doesn't follow, Morioki. And we had this argument on the WhatsApp group where you are advocating for the good citizen model. Atheists should behave well, and that will convince Christians to change their minds. Yeah. Unfortunately, it doesn't work because actually it doesn't work because Christians themselves or religious people consider themselves to have a monopoly on good behavior. So it won't change their minds on who we are, on treating us as an other. They'll still think, those are heathens. Only a fool says there's no God. Even if you behave well, it will not change their minds, my dear. It won't. Unless you tackle their ideas, their ideologies, it won't change their minds. Well, hujajibu swali.
Yeah, that is good. Although there is at least I can put a 10% possibility of be accepted by religious because of when they came to realize how you behave. Because maybe they were thinking you eat babies, but when the moment they realize how you behave, sometimes you can have some relation or good relationship with them. Let's hear from Anthony. You wanted to contribute?
I was listening from all your discussion, but let me just say this: like where I am right away, I'm being chased away. All right, but the owner of the place I am know me, but not me my room orientation. But they have opened their door. I'm not supposed to. Yeah, they are okay with me, right?
I can't hear
I think your audio is too low.
I'm saying where I am, I'm not supposed to be here. Because they don't expect me to be here, isn't it? But
I think there is problem with your network.
Okay. Me being here, I am just safe. They are okay with me. They open their doors for security issues. But I'm still here. They don't have any issue with me, provided I'm safe with them, right? What does that mean? Being sick on their hands. Hmm. Not hiding. Because I'm here. I'm not supposed to be here. Dogs have
Anthony,
been open.
you are breaking off. We haven't heard anything
Yeah,
you've said. The
I'm
last
saying,
two sentences.
I'm saying,
Ah,
I'm here. I know what you're saying about being unacceptable, but the dogs have been open up. But they have told me, boss, you're here. But they are okay with me. I'm here. What does that mean? By being open up with? Does that mean insecurity? Does that mean being unfit in the society? I am here.
We are getting you little by little.
Mm.
So I think you try to modify your mic, then you will come back. Let's hear from somebody else. But we understand about the gaining trust from other people.
Exactly.
Yeah. Chris, do you have something to say as we conclude our meeting?
Hello.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Let someone else have something to say.
Yeah, thank you.
Hello.
Chris, yeah.
Hi, guys. It's Christine and Martin.
Oh.
Aseni. So, sorry, we joined in late. But yes, you're talking about happiness. Personally, I believe happiness comes from within, and is your actions are a reflection, of how much healing we have all had to do, depending on whatever cards we were dealt from birth. So yeah, I had Morioki talking about good, and I think anyone can be good, but you have to be intentional about happiness. And I think we missed out on the acceptance part. But yeah, above being accepted because you are good, to be able to tap into true happiness. Kwanza, for me as an extrovert, I usually think my happiness comes from outside. Outside things make me happy genuinely. Like, I miss people on a high, like people when people go away, and when I go to for shopping, and I see something I like, I'm genuinely happy. But that's vanity, and it's very easy to confuse that. But you're happy when you're healthy, and that's an internal thing. You're happy when things like that. So it comes from my take. It has to come from within, and then whatever shows outside is only but a reflection of the same. Yeah.
Yeah, that is great. So, Anthony, is your mic clear now?
Yes, my mic is open.
Yeah, fine.
Exactly. Now, being happy Hello?
Yes, I can hear you.
Being happy is being who you are, right? Me, I am who I am, where I am right now. The dogs are happy, but I am happy with who I am. And in terms of purity, in terms of personality, in terms of other perspective, in terms of humanity, I am safe with who I am, right? But why should judge someone because of orientation, because of belief, because of happiness? I'm happy, even though I am not secure in terms of happiness, purity, and everything. But I am not against anything or anyone else's purity, right? What does orientation mean about it? Nothing. It's about being happy. It's about being secure. It's about being who you are. I don't know whether I'm too much drunk or whatever it is. I'm happy with who I am. Yeah. Koi knows me very well. Yeah, I'm happy with who I am. I'm happy with who I am.
Anthony, you are still breaking.
I'm saying I am happy with who I am. That even majority of you, even the Christians, like Kohi, knows me very well. Yeah, exactly.
I think I'm Koi.
Oh my, how are you, Koi?
I'm good. I'm good. And I agree with what you're saying. Like, first, I think what you're talking about is still acceptance with
I
who you
am happy.
are. Yeah.
Like, I don't pretend. Koi and Martin, how are you?
We'll call you after
Koi,
the forum. We'll call you after the forum.
thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So we are now
Let
concluding.
me interject.
Yeah.
Yes. Let me
Okay.
interject and say I'm just happy. Just continue the discussion. I'm listening by the way.
Thank you. So, Eugene, do you have something, or Juliana, before we conclude? We are looking for a solution, how we can improve the happiness to those who feel stigmatized or isolated.
Oh, now I understand where the acceptance is coming from. Okay. If I could add on, please.
Mm.
Yeah, proceed.
Yeah, so when you feel stigma, I've come to realize this is a personal point of view. The world is so big, but you just have to open your eyes to it. Where you're stigmatized is such a small, for example, sometime back in Saudi, women couldn't drive. But the world is bigger than Saudi. In other places, you just need to, expand your mind kidogo. Like in UG, the LGBTQ community is, they are killed. So it's up to you. As I said, happiness it's an inside job. Yeah. It's up to you to heal and understand that, this is my position and work your way through. It is, by the way, a sole responsibility thing. If I realize, I need the right networks to connect me to a better job, to out of this country, because I'm not my kind is not accepted here. It is your job to be in pursuit of of your happiness, because it's what makes me happy is not what makes someone else happy. So it's first I accept who I am and my surrounding. If my surrounding does not work for me, then I'd be in pursuit. And it's my job to be in pursuit until I find my place of happiness, of peace, and such. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, well clear, great. So somebody else has been conclude. Dorcas, you can just finalize. Then you close.
Okay, great. I wanted to add two more things. In fact, this was ignited it was catalyzed by what Morioki said, although he kind of veered off, and also what Chris just spoke about. And for the life of me, I thought Chris is Christopher. Kumbe, I'm hearing a lady.
It's Chris Martin.
Chris Martin. Oh, but yeah, Christine and Martin, we love it. You guys are a power couple, and we love it when you are among us. And I hope by then we watch the video for Likua. It was amazing. So anyway, yeah, the two things I wanted to add is self-improvement, focusing on your health. I think that really contributes to happiness, making positive lifestyle habits. For instance, avoiding obesity, eating unhealthy foods, or living a passive lifestyle, not going to the gym or not engaging in physical exercise. That can undermine your happiness eventually, because it will affect your health. So yeah, positive life habits, I think that matters. And another one I would add there is avoiding addictive substances or habits. Habits like gambling could undermine your happiness, or substances. So if you're into drugs, if you're into alcohol, if you're an alcoholic, a little alcohol does not hurt anybody. But if you're an alcoholic and your use of alcohol is affecting your normal functioning, you will not be happy. You will not be happy. It will definitely undermine your overall happiness. So positive lifestyle choices that promote good health are essential in this equation of happiness. Then another thing which Chris mentioned, of which is that in the event that you're facing stigma, then go to places where your kind is not stigmatized. So for us, we are looking at us as atheists. We are in a majority religious country, and we face stigma. Yes, Anthony?
Doctor, I'm facing some evacuation because I'm somewhere where I'm being evacuated by force. I might go offline because where I am, the people that doesn't accept my acceptance being here at this time. Boss, unaweza nipatia few minutes tumalize meeting? Okay, umesikia amesema hapana. So I might go offline as a way of finding my solution out of this was please.
What kind of place is that? As in, it's like it's a club or something?
Restaurant.
It's a restaurant. Okay.
Where there's a place I told you about.
A restaurant. It's closing time.
There's a place I told you about. That's where I am.
Okay. We'll talk later. Sawa. Maybe the other members will
I can go offline. But that's the discussion going through.
Yeah, fine. We appreciate for you being here. Welcome back.
Thank you, Anthony. So I was giving that last point and saying that we as atheists face stigma and discrimination predominantly from fervent religious groups, especially institutions that are religious based. So you go to a Catholic school, you go to a Catholic hospital, and they will ostracize you for your vocal atheist stance. So how can you cope with that? How can you deal with that aspect? I think what we can do is play the long game, where we try and fight for secularism in our country, Kenya. And in the event that we face that blatant discrimination, there's somebody who said that she went for a job interview, and the person, after finding out she's an atheist, said, I will not consider you, I will not hire you until you kneel down and I pray for you, and you confess that Jesus is Lord. You see, that's imposing your belief on me, and that's discrimination. So it might require using the law, taking this person forward and opening a case against them because they have discriminated against you based on irreligion, being irreligious. So there's that aspect. The long game, like we need to normalize atheism. We can't be hiding ourselves. We can't be laying low, as the Christians tell us. You should shut up. You shouldn't vocalize your atheism. So there's that long game of us normalizing atheism and fighting for secularism in our country. Then on a personal level, I can also recommend, if you are seeking a job, consider international organizations, because international organizations tend to be very keen on inclusivity and diversity. For instance, we have Kilonzi here with us in our group, and he works for Amazon, I think. Yeah, he works for Amazon. So Amazon is definitely an international organization, and they are very keen on protecting minorities, regardless of who you are. We are a religious minority. They're very keen on protecting you. They'll not discriminate against you based on that. And we have many international organizations in Kenya, especially in the tech space. Then for business, I would say do not take your services, as in don't depend on the church for patronage, because some of you who are previously religious, you find that maybe 80% of your customers were from your church. In fact, for me, my former church was really into supporting the small business owners. So the pastor would call you in front and tell you, how can we support you? What business do you do? Okay, I make fresh juice. Okay, how can we support you? Be bringing, I don't know, 50 liters of juice, of that fresh juice. And we need a number of people to come in front and vow that they will be buying from you every Sunday for the next year. You see? So such a person, you would heavily rely on the church to patronize your business, to support your business, and to make profit. Then when you become an atheist, it will be hard for you to make a living, since 80% of your customers are from the church. So what you need to do is to slowly stop depending on them. Start looking for other clients out there. Yeah, look for other solutions. So sometimes it might not be tenable for you to leave your country. You know, it might not, maybe you are married, maybe you have kids already, or maybe you just don't have the skills needed to go to some other country that is open-minded towards atheism. You know, those countries, like a place like Australia, is so hard. They have such stringent visa rules. So they might not admit you there. Maybe Kenya is your only option. So consider those avenues. Yeah, anyway, that's all I wanted to add. Once again, I would like to thank the participants of our discussion. Thank you, moderator, ex-Pastor Stano. Those were very eye-opening questions that you asked us. You started with the root cause of happiness, the factors affecting happiness, before asking us whether atheists are happy and how we can improve. So that's a very great way to moderate the discussion, and we enjoyed it. Thank you, Morioki, for your questions and your comments. Thank you, El Maestro. You said something, and then I think you fell asleep at some point because you're not saying anything anymore. You did not give your closing remark.
I've
Ama,
been
you are
listening.
there.
I didn't fall asleep. I've been listening.
Oh, I'm always accusing you of things you. So what would you say? Oh, okay. What would you say as a closing remark on how atheists can become happier?
How it can become happier? I don't know. Because me, you know, I have things that make me happy that are outside this thing about religion. Football is what makes me happy. That is
Yes,
and also
and Maestro, that is good
visiting,
advice.
and also visiting. You know, me, I love rooftop pools and rooftop hotels. Those are my thing. When I'm enjoying panoramic views, that is something that makes my mind relax, and I'm happy. Yeah. So, you know, it depends on
Yeah.
someone's personality now.
Me, I like that advice. I think we shouldn't make atheism be the only source of our identity. Look and discover other hobbies, other activities that you can do to bring happiness.
You know,
Yes.
hi, El Maestro.
Hi.
Don't Just to add on, like we have been conditioned that we can be one thing and not the others because of, okay, I'm talking from a Christianity point of view, where I can only be a Christian. I can't even have, Muslim friends. I can't learn about what they learn about in their madrasa. I can't ask about it, and it's an authoritative, like a dictatorial kind of leadership, and authoritarian or whatever it is. My point?
You can be a Christian, a Muslim.
My point being,
Yeah.
we should now be bold enough to, since you spoke about identity, I don't have to identify as this. I can identify as this and this. I can identify as a mother and a wife and a shopper at Quickmart, etc. As all under one roof. Yeah.
Absolutely. I agree. And the more the things you identify as, the better, the higher your likelihood of finding happiness that way, because you're not putting all your eggs in one basket. So yeah, indeed. Lucha Veleli, are you still there? Are you still awake, or did sleep take you? I think probably he fell asleep, but I'm glad he joined us, despite being on call, because I think he was working this evening, but he made time for us, and those were some pertinent contributions he made earlier in the discussion of the biological underpinnings of happiness and the social ones. They were really good. And I also liked that exchange you had with Morioki about homophobia and disgust. Disgust is not a justification for homophobia. In this day and age, guys, we need to move beyond that bigotry and discrimination against people who are not affecting us in any way. Even if they are engaging in anal sex, it's their body. It's not ours. So let's leave them alone. There's no room for homophobia here. So thank you, Lucha Beleli, for clearing that out. Thank you, Bill. He was here earlier, but I think he had to leave. And also thank you, Anthony, for joining us. Juliana, you want to say something?
Yeah, just in case I don't get called on, I really missed this meeting, but I will fall back on YouTube to listen to it. I was working, so I just couldn't join in as I would have. Very, very interesting discussion, very interesting insights in happiness. We make our own happiness. We don't wait for people to make happiness for us. I think Dorcas and maybe some other people talked about getting into different communities to create that engagement and not just waiting for something to come to you. When I recall many people who move overseas, we are leaving behind a whole family structure, friendship structure, go whole new community by ourselves. Sometimes you're the only person in that city from Kenya. So what are you going to do? Are you going to sit in your house and feel sorry for yourself? Or are you going to go out and join the various different interests that are out there? Join, I think Doc has talked about a running club, join a walking club, join a club that watches games over the weekend, join a knitting club. And through those engagements, you create a whole new community. And all of a sudden, your life becomes so full, and you're no longer waiting for Christianity or your family to make it for you. Really, really great insights. I encourage all of us to continue doing what we're doing. It is unfortunate that for SAS Kenya, we don't meet as frequently as we could. But may I put it out there, if it's not been put out there, is it possible for the SASK community members who are close together in an area to say, okay, Wednesday, let's meet at this place, let's go for a movie if they can afford that, or let's meet at this place and just have a cup of coffee, or let's meet at this location. So we don't have to wait for those formal SAS-K events to create opportunities to meet. I'm just putting it out there. Perhaps that would be one way of helping build and engage our atheist community. And most important, reach out, reach out, reach out. Don't wait. You see, we've been spoiled. The church did all those connections for us, and then we wait. But let's not wait for that. Let's reach out and be free. To give you an example, I'm actually right now, my hometown is actually Edmonton, but for this is happening between a Kenyan and a Hindu guy. These Kenyans came to Canada 30 years ago. They got their kids. These Hindu guys came to Canada same 30 years ago by themselves. They formed their own community. Diana and Romil, that's the guy's name. They went through high school together. They studied together. They went to university together. All of a sudden, they tell their parents we're getting married. They formed that community. And so right now, we are going for a wedding, a Hindu wedding. It's a 1 week long wedding. So when you talk about creating happiness and communities, I see that as an example. It would have been so easy for Diana, that's her name, from Kenya, to say, you know what, I'm just going to stick to my people. Although there are only 10 Kenyans in my city, I'm just going to sit in my house. She didn't do that. She said, I'm going to go out, see what's out there. Let me join this club. Let me meet friends. And as a result, a very beautiful relationship was made. So I call out to all atheists, reach out, look around, explore. There are so many great opportunities for us to form communities outside what we were traditionally brought up with. And thank you so much for giving me a few minutes to express that. I will review the YouTube again just to see what I missed. Thank you, everyone. I look forward to seeing you next week. Have a good weekend. Bye.
Thank you so much, Juliana. Haya, the onus is on us, guys. She's given us a challenge for those who are close to each other. Let's look for each other. We don't need to wait for the formal meetups. Let's look for each other and hang out. Yeah, let's give each other community. And that aspect of being action-oriented. Don't wait for another person to reach out. Be the one to make the first move. In order to find community, and thus find happiness. Thank you so much, Juliana. And of course, thank you, Christine and Martin, for taking time to be with us. We enjoyed your insights, even though mmekuja late kidogo, but whatever you said was very helpful, and we truly appreciate your presence. So guys, I wish you a lovely night. Let's meet again next Friday for yet another riveting discussion. Bye.
Bye.